Greetings. This is Justin Allan, the Elite Nurse Practitioner. Welcome to the Elite Nurse Practitioner Show, podcast dedicated to nurse practitioner entrepreneurism and achieving financial freedom. Listen up, our market is saturated. Jobs can be scarce. We are underpaid. We are undervalued. We are taken advantage of by the sharks within the healthcare system. And frankly, screw that. Sick of it. And it's time for a change. And listen, I'm here to help make that happen. We are powerful. We can forge a path where we are in control of our career and ultimately our financial and personal well-being. And I'm here to show you that path. I hope the content and information within these podcast episodes does just that. All right, onto the episode. Hello, everyone. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. Typically, I interview a nurse practitioner. Today, I'm just going to basically talk for the next little while, all right? There's going to be a few episodes coming out where I just basically talk about a certain concept to help you guys succeed. So today, I want to talk about how to actually develop true wealth as a nurse practitioner, okay? Many people out there really don't understand how to do this. They just don't know how to actually generate wealth and build a life to where they work on their terms, they live on their terms. So today I kind of want to just go over some basic principles on how to get there. Many of you might be established nurse practitioner entrepreneurs already and might already know this stuff, so it could just be a review. But for many of you, I doubt that you'll know these concepts and understand how to actually do this process. First off, there is no faster way to building wealth and achieving financial independence as a nurse practitioner than starting your own business, okay? I'm sure many of you probably knew I was going to say that, right? But it's the truth, though. I mean, it really, really is. There's no other way, none. If you have another way, I'm all ears, okay? There really is not. Being an employed nurse practitioner is a very, very slow path to building financial independence. It just is. There is no faster way to do it. You will never build the kind of wealth you can as a self-employed nurse practitioner, as a nurse practitioner entrepreneur, okay? You will not build that kind of wealth being employed. You just will not. So the fastest way to true wealth is starting your own business. Ask any business owner and they will agree with what I'm saying. If you ask any employed nurse practitioner, they will look at you clueless because they do not know any better. And that doesn't go with just nurse practitioners. That goes with the vast majority of people in this country, okay? Most people just go to work and get their check and live paycheck to paycheck and kind of just go through life, retire when they're 65 years old. That's the way you want to live, go ahead. That's not the way I want to live, though. I want to live on my own terms and do what I want to do. Most people are just stuck in a system that preys on their ignorance. Business owners, healthcare administrators, okay? Doctors, supervisors, collaborators, those kinds of people, they prey on the nurse practitioner because the nurse practitioner doesn't know any better. They want you to remain ignorant so you continue to make them wealthy. That's how that works. So one of my biggest goals with the Elite Nurse Practitioner is to educate as many nurse practitioners as possible on a different path, on a different way to do it. When you are a wage slave, you just don't know any different. You just don't know what is actually possible out there. You just show up to work, you collect your paycheck every 2 weeks, you have a 30-year mortgage that you likely probably can't afford, you have car loans, you have a bunch of debt, maybe you invest in your 401k, maybe you're hoping that you're going to strike it rich off some random stock or Bitcoin or something like that. Maybe you buy lotto tickets thinking you're going to hit it rich. Those are slow ways and probably impossible ways to build wealth, okay? The only way you truly make extra money as an employed nurse practitioner is by picking up an extra shift here and there, okay? And you might be able to make an extra $500 or $600 here and there, okay? These are just drops in the bucket, guys, all right? They do not accelerate your wealth. They really, really don't. So the biggest thing here is that when you are staying an employed nurse practitioner, the reason why you can't build true wealth is because of income generation. You are not generating enough of income. It's one of the pillars of financial independence. The 4 pillars of financial independence. Number 1 is income. You must generate income and a healthy amount of income. You got to have money coming in. The second pillar is investing that money appropriately. If you don't have any money to invest, then it really doesn't matter. The third pillar is expenses. You must live below your means and lower your personal expenses. If you're living high, right? If you have expensive $100,000 cars, $800,000 McMansions, this kind of stuff, you're still living paycheck to paycheck. You're not going to be any happier than someone like me who has a mortgage for $250,000. Well, I paid it off. I don't have a mortgage anymore, thank God. But I bought my house for like $225,000 and I put a little bit of work into it. I'm just as happier here as I would in a $500,000 or $600,000 house, okay? So it doesn't really matter, right? It's not going to really increase your happiness. So live within your means, lower your expenses. The fourth pillar, taxes. You have to understand on how to lower the biggest expense in your life. The biggest expense in your life are going to be taxes. I don't care what anyone else says. It's the biggest expense in your life. You will spend more on taxes than your mortgage. You will spend more on taxes than paying for your kids' stuff, right? You're going to pay more in taxes than any other thing in your life. If you don't have a tax lowering strategy in your life, you are a fool because it's the biggest expense in your life and you can legally reduce it. So these are the 4 pillars of financial independence that you must understand. Income generation, investing that money, lowering your expenses, and lowering your taxes. If you can do those 4 things, you will be on a fast path to financial independence. But let's talk about income generation, all right? It is the most important pillar in my opinion, okay? You can't do anything unless you have money coming in. True wealth building does not occur really until you have about $100,000 saved. That might sound like a very large number for a lot of you. How hard is it to save $100,000 being an employed nurse practitioner? Pretty damn hard. I was an employed nurse practitioner for many, many years, and I never even got close to being able to save $100,000. I was able to save $100,000 once I started my business. That is what fast-tracked my wealth, was starting a business. My men's health practice, my medical cannabis clinic, these things have accelerated my wealth exponentially. So you have to try to hit that $100,000 mark. Getting that first $100,000 is very difficult. If you are employed, it's going to be extremely difficult. And if you are living beyond your means, all right, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you have very high personal expenses, large amounts of debt, you have no idea what you're doing in terms of taxes, it's going to be damn near impossible. So let's talk about being employed and getting that first $100,000, right? It's going to be hard. So let's just say that you're making $140,000 to $160,000 as a full-time nurse practitioner, okay? That's good money. That is nothing to be ashamed of, okay? That's a good living. Most nurse practitioners out there would kill for $140,000 a year, especially when we're being nickel and dime for $40, $45 an hour. I mean, give me a break. It's ridiculous. Now, you're going to pay about 30 to 35% of that income to taxes, all right? Federal income taxes, employment taxes. So 30, 35% of that income is automatically gone, right? Little you can do about it, especially when you're employed. When you are employed, you pay taxes first before you get paid. It's critically important to understand this. Taxes as a nurse practitioner entrepreneur and taxes as an employed nurse practitioner are completely 2 different things. When you are self-employed, you pay yourself first and then you pay your taxes later, right? Critically important, critically important. So when you are employed, they take your money out of your paycheck, that's the taxes, and then here's what's left over. When you are self-employed, when you own your own business, you can do what you want with business expenses, tax lowering strategies, and those sorts of things to lower your tax bill. I have legally reduced my tax bill significantly being a nurse practitioner entrepreneur, being a business owner. I go over that a lot more in the How to Lower Your Taxes course, okay? This podcast, I can't do it justice, okay? There are so many different ways to lower your taxes, but that is what you need to understand. If you are employed, it is very difficult to truly lower your taxes in any meaningful way. Now, let's say you have that $140,000, you're taxed at 30, 35%. When it's all said and done, you walk away with about $100,000. Great. It's good money. You have $100,000. You need to pay your mortgage, you pay your student loans, you pay your car expenses, you pay all your debt expenses, okay? All of those things, right? They add up. So how much can you realistically save in 1 year? You have that $100,000 left over. After you pay all that stuff in your life, how much do you have? If you're living below your means, you could probably save $40,000, $50,000 of that money, right? If you're living below your means. Most of you probably are not. So if you want to live very, very frugally, you could probably save a lot. You could probably save $40,000, $50,000 a year. But most people aren't going to do that. So instead, you might be able to save $10,000, $20,000 or so. Still pretty impressive. That's still pretty impressive compared to most people in this country. Most people would kill to save $10,000 in their life, okay? They really, really would. But you want to be an elite nurse practitioner, you want to build financial independence. $10,000, $20,000 a year is nothing, okay? That's not going to build your wealth. It will, but it'll build it over 20, 30 years, okay? If you want to retire in 5 to 10 years, It's nothing, right? It's not going to get you there. Now, it is not going to get you there because you're saving $10,000, $20,000 a year. It's going to take you 5 to 10 years to save up that $100,000. Remember, I told you that first $100,000 is critical to building wealth because that first $100,000 can be invested and can be turned into more and more money. The point here is that it would take you many, many years following that path of being just an employed nurse practitioner to build any kind of true nest egg. You're talking about 20 years to be able to save $250,000. It's nothing, especially when you factor in inflation. It's nothing. So let's go over another example. Let's say that you own a business or two. Okay, let's say you own a couple practices like me. Let's say that you have maybe like an aesthetics practice, a men's health practice, a weight loss clinic, something like that. So basically you have these things like little part-time side hustles, and maybe you have a little part-time job. You're following the elite nurse practitioner model. You have a part-time job, and you got some part-time businesses. That's a great way to start, okay? That's what you really should do. You should maintain a little part-time job, start a part-time business. Let's say you hustle really, really hard in these businesses. You hustle hard. You get these businesses up to almost $1 million a year in revenue. Totally realistic, very realistic. For the nurse practitioner entrepreneurs listening to this that have done it, they're probably shaking their head right now in agreement. You can build a practice that gets to $1 million a year in revenue in 3 years if you practice the model that I teach. You can easily do that. I've seen it time and time again. If you've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, you have heard from other nurse practitioners that have done it as well. So you get these businesses up to $1 million a year after 3 or 4 years. Let's say that all your expenses are paid for, and after it's all said and done, you walk away with, let's just say $400,000, $450,000 profit. It's a lot of money, okay? Now, you say you are investing that money into a self-employed retirement account. You can invest $61,000 a year into that tax-free. You can't do that as an employed nurse practitioner. You can invest like $21,000 in your 401k. Very slow. As a nurse practitioner entrepreneur, as a business owner though, you can invest $61,000 into it, okay? You do the math there. Let's say that you then add that $450,000. Let's say that you're investing $100,000 a year into some real estate, okay? Maybe you're getting some rentals and that kind of thing. Not only are you getting the cash flow from the real estate, but you're also able to depreciate the cost of that real estate, which means it's a huge tax write-off. Huge tax write-off. I bought a $500,000 Airbnb, a really high-end Airbnb. I was able to do an accelerated depreciation the first year I bought it. I wrote off $100,000. Tell me if you can do that as an employed nurse practitioner. Absolutely not. No way. So that's what I'm saying. That is why taxes are a pillar of financial independence. You need to understand this stuff. Don't rely on your CPA. Many CPAs don't know what the hell they're doing. You need to get a good tax advisor, take the tax course, that kind of thing. You need to understand how to do this, right? All right. I hope everyone's enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick break to thank everyone listening and also give a big thank you to all of my social media followers and email subscribers. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our email list at www.elitenp.com and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Email subscribers will receive updates on new weekly podcast episodes, multiple weekly articles we publish, new courses, and everything else related to helping you succeed. Remember, all elite nurse practitioner courses are designed to help you build a niche practice, increase your financial strength, and to break free from the rat race. If I can break free and that other countless nurse practitioners can break free, then so can you. Additionally, please share this podcast with your other nurse practitioner sisters and brothers out there. The more NPs that venture out on their own, the stronger our profession will become. Now, let's get back to the episode. So anyways, let's say you put $100,000 a year into real estate. After the $161,000 in investments, remember you put $61,000 in your self-employed IRA 401k, and you put $100,000 in real estate, you're left with about $289,000. That $289,000 is what you're obligated to pay taxes on. But wait, if you elect it as an S Corp through your LLC, you're going to pay yourself a reasonable salary of $50 an hour because that's the going rate for a nurse practitioner. Yeah, correct. Now you're more only liable for income taxes on the $78,000 that you paid. Okay. The rest of the profit, which now equals $211,000, can be taken as an owner's draw and is free from employment taxes. You just saved yourself 15%. Tell me if you can do that as an employed nurse practitioner. No, you cannot. You ended up paying around $110,000 in taxes total. So now you are left with approximately $100,000, okay, plus the salary that you just gave yourself, the $78,000. So now you have $178,000 to live off of. But remember, you invested $100,000 into real estate and you maxed out your self-employed 401k IRA. You just invested $161,000 in 1 year. Tell me if you can do that as an employed nurse practitioner. You can't. okay? You can't do it. Do you see how much more you were able to generate and invest as a business owner, and also how you were able to legally reduce your taxes? If you lived within your means, you would easily be able to save close to $200,000 a year owning your business in that example I just gave you. In 5 years, you're a millionaire. 5 years. 10 years, you're a multimillionaire. All right. That's what I'm saying about the power of income generation and having a business. It is impossible to do this as an employed nurse practitioner. Possible. You can't do it unless you have some businesses, or unless you want to work 80, 90 hours a week and kill yourself. That ain't no way to live. That's what I'm saying. The time investment that goes into those businesses is a fraction of the time investment that you're giving to an employer. So it's critically important that you understand these principles, okay? It's critically important that you understand these pillars of financial independence, all right? Let me give you a personal story. So when I was a full-time employed nurse practitioner, okay, I was employed for about 4 or 5 years full-time, maybe a little bit more than that. And I was really having a hard time getting ahead, guys. I mean, I really was. I was maxing out my 401k, okay, big deal, $20,000 a year, whoop-de-doo, okay? It didn't really change the dial in my life. It didn't really accelerate anything. And I really didn't have a whole lot of savings or investments. I might have had like $20,000 in my checking account or something like that. I was basically living above my means. I was being a fool. When I first started my little side practice, I saw how much money I made in the first 3 months, and it was life-changing. The blindfold was taken off of my eyes. I saw the true potential of income generation through a business. It is superior in every single way. I never realized it until I actually saw it. And this will happen to you too if you don't have a business, or if you have a business right now that's kind of slow. Once it starts getting going, you're going to see the magic happen. It'll change your life. I know a lot of nurse practitioners out there that have been making a lot of money having their own businesses. I know a millionaire nurse practitioner. Actually, I know a couple millionaire nurse practitioners. And the way they got there was by owning their own practice and following the 4 pillars of financial independence, okay? It's so important. I mean, it really, really is. I'm not going to sit here and talk your head off about why it's so important starting a business. I mean, you know this. Not only the income generation, but just the freedom that you can get from owning your own business. It is truly amazing. And I want to share that with all my nurse practitioner sisters and brothers out there. I really do. I'm so sick and tired of seeing everyone get taken advantage of. It is such an absolute shit show out there. Excuse my language. It really is. Someone was telling me somewhere in Florida, they're starting nurse practitioners off at $30 an hour. Are you kidding me? You can make more money waiting tables or being a bartender without the liability. That's just insane to me. And I can't believe people are taking these jobs. This is what market saturation does. So if you're listening to my voice right now, I hope that you're actually going to try to start your own process and build your own life. Because I'm telling you what, it's only going to get worse out there, guys. I do not see how it's going to get any better. If you think it's going to get any better, please leave me a comment and explain to me how it's going to get better. We got 25, 30,000 nurse practitioners graduating a year, okay? Where are the jobs at? Tell me where those jobs are at. Like, where are those jobs coming from? I don't know where those jobs are coming from because they don't exist. A lot of nurse practitioners out there are still working as an RN because they get paid more or they couldn't find a job. So this is why it's critically important to get in right now on starting your own business. I wonder if these little niche practices and whatnot will get saturated in the matter of, like 10 years or so. But I think there's still plenty of time to grow it and to start your own practice. I don't think it's saturated yet. It probably will, like a lot of other things, all right? But I think it's going to be 10 years away from now, probably. So I think if you get in now, you should be okay. If you are in an area that's already saturated, let's say you want to open up a weight loss practice, and you're in an area already that has a lot of weight loss clinics, go an hour or 2 out of town and open up the weight loss clinic there, okay? There's always opportunity. Some of the best money I've ever made have been in little podunk towns that are 2 hours away from me. Those places are gold mines because no one else is there. Those are the opportunities you need to be looking for if you truly want to start a very profitable business. If you listen to podcast number 32, listen to Patrick's story, he makes $100,000 a month in a podunk town, okay? There are opportunities there. Do not let your limiting beliefs prevent you from doing it, all right? There's opportunities there. Take advantage of that opportunity or someone else is going to. It is tough out there, not only in healthcare, but in a lot of fields, okay? So you need to get started as soon as possible and stop fiddling around, all right? You really do. You really got to get going. The longer you wait to start your own business, the longer it's going to take for you to become financially independent and financially free. It is so important. If you truly want to build a life that you live on your terms, if you want to be financially independent for you and your family, you need to get started. You need to get out of analysis paralysis and get going. So the 4 pillars of financial independence, right? I want to cover this again because it's so important. I need you to write these down. I need you to really be thinking about this stuff. Income generation is the pillar of it, okay? It's the foundation. You can't do anything without money, okay? You just can't, all right? You have to lower your expenses so you have that money, okay? That's why it's another pillar of the financial independence model. You have to lower your expenses. Cut out the crap in your life that you don't need. Stop buying crap off Amazon. Stop buying super expensive cars that you don't need. Really look at your life and determine, where am I spending money and does it make me any happier? Chances are it's probably not making you any happier, okay? Before you purchase something, look at that item and ask yourself, is that going to make me any happier? In 30 days from now, am I going to care about that? In 3 months from now, am I going to care about that? Chances are you're probably not going to. So you got to lower your expenses. So you got income coming in, all right? That's a pillar. Lowering your expenses so you have more money to then invest. That's why it's another pillar. Investing. You need to understand how to invest your money appropriately. Real estate is a solid investment. Real estate provides you cash flow, a passive income stream. When you own a rental, it spins off money every single month for you. So it's cash flow. The more real estate you have, the more cash flow you have. And not only that, but the depreciation and the tax write-offs you get by having real estate. And that's why it's so important. You need to be investing in your pre-tax accounts, your 401ks, your IRAs. If you are employed, it's really slow going. If you're self-employed, if you're a nurse practitioner entrepreneur though, you can put $61,000 a year into those accounts, guys. $61,000 a year. In 10 years, you have $1 million in there when you factor in compound interest and the growth of the market. $1 million, okay? And then you also need to be investing in a post-tax brokerage account and letting it grow with the market. A diversified investment, stocks, bonds, various different things. You need to invest that money. And then the 4th pillar, lowering your taxes, because it's the biggest expense in your life. If you do these 4 things, you will become wealthy very quickly. I promise you. I did not really believe it at first. It sounded very intimidating. It sounded almost impossible to me, but I followed those steps. I followed that model. And today I'm wealthy. I've developed wealth by having businesses and by investing appropriately. I'm just some kid that grew up from a single mom. I was poor. I didn't have nothing. Nobody helped me. If I can do it, anyone else can do it. All right. I'm telling you, if I can do it, you can do it. All right. The other nurse practitioners that I've talked to, if they can do it, you can do it. You can do this. It just takes focus. And it all starts with that income generation, then lowering your expenses, getting your taxes low, and investing your money appropriately. If you do these things, you will become a wealthy nurse practitioner. I'm not here trying to sell courses right now, but I do have that lowering your tax course and a financial independent investment course. I go over this in a lot more detail in that course, okay, if you're interested in that. But you don't need to take those courses, okay? You don't. Just listen to my voice right now. Do some research on Google. Look up this stuff, okay? You can do this. You really, really can. So what I want you to do is I want you to step away from this. And I want you to sit down with a piece of paper. And I want you to go over your expenses. And I want you to go over your income and figure out how you can lower those expenses and how you can increase your income. If you're an employed nurse practitioner, you just refuse to start your own practice, then you need to develop some more income streams, okay? You need to get another job. You need to start hustling. You need to be investing that money into some real estate so you can start building some passive income streams. But if you truly want the quickest way to do it, the fast path, okay, the proven way, you got to start your own practice. If you already have your own practice, you need to figure out a way to grow it and increase the income. So this is all you got to do, guys. I broke it down into the most simplistic way I could. I could do this. You certainly can do it as well. All right. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this different podcast today. I know it's still a little bit different than usual, interviewing a nurse practitioner. I haven't had a whole lot of requests for nurse practitioners wanting a consultation. So, hey, listen, if you need some help, please email me. All right. The EliteMP@EliteMP.com. I want to interview some other nurse practitioners that need help out there. Okay. So I'll probably have some more of these podcasts. I really enjoy kind of giving everyone, just some advice for a particular subject. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave a comment. Leave me some feedback. Let me know what you thought. And I will talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye. Thank you for listening to the show. Quick legal disclaimer. The content of this podcast is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be used as legal, financial, medical, regulatory, or practice-specific advice. For information pertaining to your specific legal, financial, medical, or practice-specific needs, please be sure to consult with your lawyer, CPA, medical director, and/or your state's practice laws and the most up-to-date clinical guidelines. As always, do your due diligence when it comes to any information found online and in podcasts. The content in this podcast is copyrighted by Galaxy Medical Southwest 2022 and cannot be duplicated, rebroadcasted, or reproduced without our written permission.